Yo, I ain't see that coming, and I bet my bottom dollar you ain't see that coming either, man. What it do? It's your boy Earl of Pearl. Another quick hit edition of the Ultimate 216 Show. Y'all know the vibes. You woke up this morning, damn it, you already won. Hope you are doing something right now that your future self will thank you for. Remember, like, subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube page using that QR code right there. And ring the bell so you can stay in the know anytime one of the spinoff shows go live. So look, let's get straight to it. The Cleveland Browns hired Todd Monken today to be their 11th, I believe, full-time coach since they returned in 1999. And I was shocked. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I was shocked. That is not the person that was my personal favorite to be the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns, or the person that I quite frankly thought the Browns would end up hiring. You know, you heard Todd Monken's name, you understood he was a candidate. I'll be totally honest with you. I never really thought he was that strong or that serious of a candidate. Turns out I was wrong, and a lot of other people was wrong. But I'll say this: just because I'm shocked by the hire does not mean by any means I am going to poo-poo the hire by the Cleveland Browns. You know, Todd Monken, he's done his thing over a very tenured career as a football coach, right? In the NFL and at the collegiate ranks. Just a couple of stats I pulled up real quick. He was the Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator, and y'all know this already, for the last 3 years. University of Georgia, he was there for a couple of years, won a national championship. He was here with the Cleveland Browns in 2019 under Freddie Kitchen, and he spent some time. He spent one season actually with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But another thing that I looked up, and I think this will appease to Cleveland Browns fans. So the Baltimore Ravens averaged 27.9 points per game under him during his tenure. Third down rate was 43.6. The rushing yards per game was 166.9 with 70 total rushing touchdowns scored. And they threw for 222 yards a game with 91 passing touchdowns. If we want to keep it 100, I say that's quite an upgrade from what we just came from with Kevin Stefanski. Again, not a name that, we all thought we'd be talking about as the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns. But as I told you all once we started this coaching hire, that whenever the Cleveland Browns named their head coach and whomever they named as their head coach, I was going to be optimistic. I was going to be open-minded, and I was going to give it a fair shot. I don't believe if you're someone like myself who wanted Kevin Stefanski fired, wanted to see the Cleveland Browns make a change at the head coaching position, that you should go into this new situation pessimistic, that you should go into this new situation already feeling like it won't work or this is going to be a failure. I think that we need to give Todd Monken a fair shot to show us what he can do and what he can bring to the table to change the culture of this football team and put some more wins on the board. And we'll see how it turns out over the course of time. If you watched the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show earlier today, we had Zach Jackson on our show, and he talked about, Todd is a straight shooter, and he's somebody that is going to hold you accountable, and he comes off as a no-nonsense guy. And so if that is the case, then I think that's something that this Cleveland Browns organization can use, to be quite honest with you. How many times did we talk about in the past to where it just seemed like that there was a lack of accountability or a lack of just this seriousness when it came to the sound and structure of how the Cleveland Browns went about their business? And so, however they got to this decision of Todd Monken being the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns, they got here. I kind of was of the thought process that Andrew Berry would prefer a young offensive mind to kind of lead this group going forward. And I thought that if he was not going to hire a young offensive mind, that Jim Schwartz would end up being the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And we'll talk about Jim Schwartz a little bit more just here in a few minutes. But here we are. And so based on the reports that surround Jim Schwartz, we're probably going to have another defensive coordinator. Bubba Ventrone won't be back. And I think that's something that we all can give a hand clap to. Nobody wanted to see Bubba walk back through those doors to be any type of coach for the Cleveland Browns organization. And we just got to roll with it, right? Whether we like it or not, if you choose to cheer for this team, this is what it is. A couple statements from the Cleveland Browns on the hiring of Todd Monken. This one comes from the owners, D and Jimmy Haslam. It just goes on to say, we are very excited to name Todd Monken the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Todd is highly intelligent, and his experience, innovative offensive mindset has been at the forefront of constructing productive and successful offenses at the NFL and collegiate level over the last 20 years. Statement from General Manager Andrew Berry says, Todd has a varied and diverse background that we found a particular appealing match for our team at this stage in its life cycle. He has a direct, demanding, and detail-oriented leadership style that would create a great incubator for a young team. And so those are partial statements from the Cleveland Browns brass. You can read those full statements on social media, anywhere where you find Cleveland Browns content at. I want to know what y'all think about it. Even if it's somebody that you didn't expect the Cleveland Browns to hire, what's your thought process as we move forward with Todd Monken as the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns? Are you willing to be open-minded and give it a fair shot and see how this thing is going to turn out? Or have you already convinced yourself there is no way in the world that this is going to work? Don't forget, like, subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Ring the bell so you can stay in the know of all the spinoff shows. G. Bush is probably going to be going live a little bit later today with the Ultimate Browns show. Adam the Bull did an Ultimate Guardian show this last weekend. I'm pretty sure Mikey McNuggets will be doing an Ultimate Cavs show tomorrow after the Cleveland Cavaliers host LeBron James and the LA Lakers tonight. And of course, here with your boy Earl of Pearl in the Ultimate 216 show. All right, so this is where things kind of took a crazy turn. So we doing the show, kind of giving our thoughts on Todd Monken becoming the next coach of the Cleveland Browns, and then news start breaking left and right about Jim Schwartz and him being pissed off about being passed over for the job. Now, reports out there is allegedly saying that, Jim Schwartz was telling people it was all but a lock that he was going to be the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns. He met with the team twice. This is an organization that knows Jim Schwartz very, very well. The defense is the best unit on this football team, one of the best units in all of football, and arguably has been one of the best hires by this Cleveland Browns franchise over the last 6 years. Well, Jim didn't get the job, and it went to somebody that's just about as tenured as he is, around the same age as he is, and dude was not having it. So this particular report came from Tom Pelissero. It said, after the Browns informed Jim Schwartz this morning they were passing him over to hire Todd Monken as head coach, Schwartz was visibly upset, said goodbyes in the building, and told other coaches he's not coming back. That's what the sources told the insiders. Keep in mind, Jim Schwartz is under contract and Cleveland wants to retain him, but now it seems that his future is unclear. Listen, if all those reports are true about Jim Schwartz being pissed off, already telling people he cool, he don't want nothing to do with the Cleveland Browns no more, then you might as well just go ahead and sell it a tie. There's no need to try to think you're going to be able to repair this relationship right now. Like, emotions are very, very high, and things didn't turn out how either it was once allegedly communicated to him or how he thought they would in his mind. I don't believe he would be this frustrated if he kind of wasn't told some things behind the scenes, but that's just my opinion. If Jim Schwartz has already said publicly he don't want to be here no more, that means that his mind was made up before you even came to this decision. And if you operated with you being the Cleveland Browns with the mindset of that you was just going to hire whomever you want to and kind of keep Jim Schwartz on the back burner and think that he was just going to remain as your defensive coordinator, then joke on you. Joke on you being the Cleveland Browns for being a dysfunctional organization that you are, no matter how much Jimmy Haslam want to act like that is not. Y'all seen the press conference, how he got visibly upset because people want to continue to call this a dysfunctional franchise. Well, this franchise at minimum lacks proper communication. And when you're dealing with relationships and when you're dealing with business and you don't know how to communicate effectively, more often than not, that leads to bad things happening. Let's just keep it a buck. That's in real life and in business. And if you all kind of made Jim Schwartz believe that this was his job just to do a sudden about face, and allegedly he's finding out about this situation in the same time frame that we are, then what did you expect his reaction was going to be? Did you really expect that he was going to continue to want to work for your organization? That don't line up and that don't make sense. And this is another sign that points to the continued drama that goes on with this football team and the continued dysfunction that goes on within this organization. And that's just keeping it 100. We did a remote show yesterday and I jumped in joking like the Cleveland Browns was out here treating Jim Schwartz like a 7, but they got that type of juice that they can go out here and get themselves a 10. And clearly they was out here playing in a league that they ain't had no business playing in. You thought that in some way, shape, or form, you was going to be able to fall back on that 7. And that 7 told you, nah, bruh, watch this. Watch how I move. And so here we are. We got a new head coach, but at what price did the hiring of Todd Monken ultimately cost Cleveland Browns Jim Schwartz? And by all accounts and for what it looked like, I say, hell yeah, that's exactly what happened. So, we've been on top of the latest. That's what's going on with the Cleveland Browns all day. We will continue to stay on top of what's going on with the Cleveland Browns. I just wanted to jump on for a hot second and give you my 1-2 on what I thought about the coaching search. Again, check out the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube page, man, to stay in the know for all the latest that's going on with Todd Monken, Jim Schwartz, and whatever the hell else that got to do with the Cleveland Browns, man. Till next time, y'all be great. Y'all spread love, man. Remember, being great come with a price, and spreading love is priceless. Peace. I love y'all.